Hey everybody, I am not in today, so instead I have a video for you that is going to explain how to do this assignment because even if I'm not there, we still need to get started on this. So essentially, we have spent the portion of the year learning about different genres and composers, and now you are going to research a specific composer. I've given you a pretty general overview, but now you are going to actually do a little bit more like in-depth research, okay? So you are going to need to choose one of these options in order to present this information. So you either need to make a Google slideshow, you can use Canva, you can do it actually on a poster or a trifold if that's what you want to do. All of these are good options. If you use Google Slides or Canva, you need to know how to open those up and how to use those applications, okay? I don't have a template for you. You need to figure out how to do that, okay? You are going to, well, because I'm not there, I will already have composers assigned for you, which I will show you in a minute, okay? But usually everybody would get to pretty much pick, but because I'm not there, I don't have the opportunity to do that. So now you're going to have them just assigned to you, okay? It's one of the first 16 that we've talked about, okay? This is what you actually need to have on your report, for your actual presentation, okay? The first and foremost is you need to have at least 5 complete sentences on why your composer is considered to be famous, okay? So what did they do? Who did they know? What are some like political things that maybe they were involved in? What are some like genres that they maybe invented? Or like why are they notable? Okay. They need to be complete. Okay. I can't stress that enough. Okay. You need to have the full name of your composer. So even though we might call him Bach, what is his actual full name? Okay. When were they born? And where were they born? And when did they die and where did they die, okay? If there is not a specific location for some strange reason, but it might be the case, but if there isn't, you can just go with whatever country they are, whatever country they were born in or died in, okay? But most of them have also like a specific like town, and if you can find that, or a specific city, and if you can find that, that would be great. If you want to go the extra mile and tell me what they died of or, whatever, like that's great, okay? Extra points probably. What music period did they belong to? That one should be pretty easy because we've only really talked about like 2. So only a handful of them are going to be Baroque. The rest of them are going to be considered Romantic. Probably aren't going to have any other, time periods other than that. There might be some discussion online for some of them that say that they are like proto-romantic or they are proto-modernist or what have you. So you might have to look a little bit, but this one should be not too bad, okay? At least 3 pieces of music that they're famous for composing, okay? If you're doing it on like Canva or especially Google Slides, it definitely would be a good idea to probably provide a link to a YouTube video of some kind or some other, recorded version of whatever piece. That would be another really good thing that you could do. This is just the basics, okay? What is the instrument they primarily played, okay? They probably played a handful. Almost all of them are going to be piano players or like harpsichord players. A couple of them might be string players. But for the most part, it's going to be piano. But what was their main instrument, if you can find that, okay? What is one of their contributions to music? One of their contributions to music, okay? This would not be considered a piece of music, okay? This is something like if they worked on creating any sort of forms, okay, or any changes in formats of musical ensembles or other things like that. So, one of these composers, I will tell you, was a really big really big figure in establishing quartets and, playing in groups of 4 or chamber music. That would be like a contribution to music, okay? One of these composers that you can pick was really big in developing the genre of the nocturne, and they made it a really big thing. That would be considered a contribution to music, okay? I'm not talking about a piece of music. I'm talking about like what is like another thing they did for music, okay? This will probably be a hard one, okay? What are at least 2 people or composers that influenced them, okay? Almost all of these composers, there's going to be a list of people that they were inspired by or that were like their teacher, okay? That should be pretty easy. You need to have pictures, at least 3, okay? There's plenty of paintings and pictures of these people. There should be no problem there, okay? And your sources, you need to use at least 2, okay? On the topic of sources, Wikipedia is not acceptable as a source, okay? However, Wikipedia is acceptable as like a starting point. I like to use Wikipedia a lot when I need to get like a quick glance on some of these composers because Wikipedia has decently good and accurate information. I'm not telling you that Wikipedia is bad or wrong, but in the world of research, it's just not acceptable, okay? Wikipedia always has sources at the bottom of their page, and if it's a good Wikipedia article, okay? And that's what you should be clicking on and going to read about, okay? That's where you should be going, okay? These are sources that probably are good and okay for your research. If you are having trouble finding good sources, these 4 sources right here, okay? And I will give you a minute to see this, okay? But it's also gonna be on the paper that's passed out. If you type these exactly, these are great sources to give you information about your composer that you need to look up, okay? These are great sources to start with, these 4, okay? Google is also not a source. Google is a search engine. If you write down Google as a source, it is wrong, and I will count it as wrong, okay? These are the standards that you're gonna be graded on, okay? These are standards that most of these have been graded on already this year, but some of these are new, okay? You'll be graded on listening and analyzing and describing music. You're graded on that one a lot. Evaluating music and music performances, okay? So you actually need to listen to the music that these people wrote, okay? You need to understand the relationship between music, the other arts, and disciplines outside the arts. So you need to understand how these people were, functioning as a whole. And you need to understand music in relation to history and culture. We talk about that one a lot as well. So how were these people relevant? So you need to actually listen to the music these people wrote, okay? You will also be graded on your general creativity and neatness, okay, of the project, okay? I also am going to show you a really basic, very bare bones minimum example project about a composer we're not going to talk about this year, okay, as a way to get started, but it's bare bones minimum. It would be considered like a C+ or like a B- in my eyes, okay? You can do more than what I'm going to show you, okay? I'll show you that in a minute. These are due dates, okay? So day 1, if you're a day 1 person, your due date is January 29th. If you're a day 2 person, it's January 30th. Day 3 is January 27th, and day 4 is January 28th. It's also written on my board, okay? This is a very basic, very basic example project, okay? This would be not scored super high. It's nice, but it's very bare bones. There's a lot more I could do, okay? This is about Gustav Mahler. He's a composer we're not going to talk about this year. He's right around the time of Brahms and Tchaikovsky, so towards the end of who we've talked about so far, okay? So these are my 5 sentences. So Gustav Mahler was a leading conductor during his lifetime. He introduced many new works of music, especially during his time at the Vienna Opera. Mahler was born to Jewish parents and faced regular oppression of his music. His status as a successful conductor was secured, however, during the Nazi era. Some of his music was banned. After 1945, Mahler's music was rediscovered and has since become one of the most performed composers even into the 21st century, okay? 5 very basic sentences describing why they're important and who they are, okay? I got 1 picture, okay? Here's some bio information. So their birthday, where, their death day, where, and I said what era. They're a Romantic era composer, but Mahler is almost a modern composer, so there's some argument there, okay? This is, again, kind of bare bones. You could tell me how he died. You could tell me of what he died of. There's all sorts of stuff you could do here, okay? Put some other fun facts. Here are at least 3 famous pieces. I provided links to them and videos, and then I named which ones are what. Here's some other facts. So here's his primary instrument. I talked about, okay, this is a contribution. Okay, so he was a bridge between Romanticism and Modernism. So he helped to establish more avant-garde practices in the orchestra, such as certain instrumentations and using different weird instruments. Here's another picture. And then Mahler was influenced by Liszt and Wagner. Okay, here are the two sources I used. I also used Wikipedia a little bit, okay, to help me get some background information. And here's a third picture. This is very basic, okay? This, again, would be scored as a pretty basic project, okay? There is a lot more that you could do. There's a lot more creativity you could do. There's a lot more research you could add. The more research you do and the more creative you are, the better you will score on this project, okay? I hope that makes sense. I know I talked a little fast. I'm not in today because I am feeling pretty junky, and my voice is kind of going, and you can maybe hear it a little bit. And then I will also provide you here at the end, for your class specifically, who is assigned to what composer, and that'll be in a separate video here in a sec, okay? So please get started. You have all of this class to do this assignment, okay? Okay, guys, so this is the list of who is doing what for each of your composers for your assignment, okay? This is just how things have to go, okay? I know I didn't give you a chance to pick, but this is just the way it goes. Please don't switch anything around. This is just who you've got, okay? Give yourself a chance to underline, circle, whatever you need to do on your paper so you know who your composer is for this assignment, okay?